You know, we have to stop sitting down, brothers and sisters. We know what's right and we know what's wrong. And let me just say one thing before I conclude. I don't know exactly what happened to Freddie, but I know it's no way in the world that they threw him in that van when he was healthy. I'm saying they had their knees in his neck and their knees in his back, and that's what happened to Freddie. Now they can deny it any way they want, they can try to cover it up any way they want. How the hell are they gonna throw you in a paddy wagon? They're gonna say you had a rough ride, and then that's how you end up dying. That's bullshit. Bullshit. But everybody knows the truth. So if y'all want to just conclude, brothers and sisters, say thank you. Thank you for standing up and never let the oppressors be the ones to have you sit down, and don't let them throw their ministers or whoever out here and try to take you away from what's real. Because the only real thing is getting justice. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to bring up Reverend Hagler from West Baltimore. But before I bring him up, I'm just going to say something real quick. Just get to know somebody. You know what I mean? Don't let us just be out here marching. This is about Freddie Gray, but this is all about all black men and women that's getting killed and harassed by police brutality. So just get to know somebody. Hug somebody. Tell them you love them, because we all human here. So, Reverend Hagler.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
You know, I'm Grayland Hagler, pastor of Plymouth Congregational United Church of Christ in Washington, D.C. I also was born and raised in Baltimore. My grandmother's house just a little over there on North Gilmore Street. And I grew up off of Poplar Grove. The reality is when we come and we encounter things like this is not new in Baltimore. Y'all know it's not new in Baltimore. This has been a culture that has been carried out historically in Baltimore. I remember that when I was growing up, and now I'm 61, there was a tradition in Baltimore, particularly in those days, when they would take a rookie and have a rookie ride in the back of the lockup wagon with somebody who was black. And then when you met them at the police station or at the courthouse, their face looked like hamburger, because the initiation rite was for somebody to get blood on their hands. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of you have been around long enough. The fact is that this is a tradition. This is a tradition of law enforcement to dehumanize, to beat up, and to show folks who's in charge. It is really a race that comes out in a blue uniform. Don't just talk about black and white. It's a blue uniform when somebody begins to take on the mentality of being an occupying army in the midst of a community. That's what we're dealing with. And that's what we're kind of standing here to lifting up Freddie Gray. But Freddie Gray is one among many. You know, the fact is that we've seen it now because, as you pointed out, with electronic phones and recording devices. But the reality is that it's been going on and people said, well, they must have done something wrong. They must have been doing stuff and stealing something. You know, a lot of times it's the fact that you got a police officer with a chip on his shoulder, and he happens to look at you and see you, and you decide that you're just not going to be meek, but you're going to look them back in the eye. They consider that a threat.
Yes.
What we need to talk about right now is basically how we begin to demilitarize the police department, not only here, but across the country.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm going to tell you, a little more than a year ago, I was in Palestine. And you saw basically our law enforcement have all gone over and been trained by the Israeli Defense Forces. In what? In occupation. To bring occupation tactics back here into the streets. And so that's why we got to continue to stand up and demand that justice